Please don't let this turn into a rant video. Please, for the love of God, don't. Hello and welcome to a new YouTube video of mine. I know, before anyone is saying anything, I know I have been absent. There's explanations, okay? I'll come to that in a minute. Welcome to a new YouTube video, and today is finally the day where I am going to film my first ever review. The only purpose that I created this channel for was actually reviews, and therefore I'm super excited to finally do what I wanted to do originally when I started this channel, and what I also kind of already mentioned in my last video, which has been the London vlog, which has been like 2 months ago. Okay, there's reasons. Okay, so reason number one is university started like 1 week after we went to London. I finally got my bachelor and I'm now in my master's studies. And the thing with the master's studies is that I finally have a full timetable again. So normally you have about 10 courses in the week, and I haven't had that in like 2 years because of a bachelor and stuff. So I had like 4 semester courses 1 year ago, and then I had only 2 when I wrote my bachelor thesis, and therefore I had a lot of free time. I don't have that anymore. I live in a small village in Brandenburg, but it's basically somewhere here, and I have to travel to Potsdam daily, which is here. So I'm traveling through Berlin 1.5 hours to get to Potsdam and 1.5 hours back, and afterwards I'm just tired, so I never really had the time to film the video that I wanted to film, even though it was ready in my mind. So I basically, the only thing I had to do was film it, but that was the hardest part because I literally didn't have any time. Another thing that kept me from filming this video was that I got sick like a lot recently. I had a migraine attack like 4 weeks ago or something, and recently last week I was fighting with an infection that is still going on somewhere in this body. You might hear it. Yeah, I'm still not super fit yet. It's okay, so I can live with that. And I really want to get to this video now. The last point that might have made me turn away from this video was that I'm actually kind of scared filming this. It sounds crazy. I know I don't have the biggest audience, which is fine by me, but the video I'm going to film now, as already mentioned in the title, is going to be a problematic one because it's going to be kind of a rant review. I'm hoping it won't turn into a rant, but it could. Let's just say it's a rant review about a book that is highly appreciated on Book Talk, on Bookstagram, on BookTube, and now I'm getting in the frame being like, ugh. And let's just say I'm kind of scared of that. Chances are low, but they are there, that this video is gonna pop up on someone's For You page. They see me talking about this specific book that I'm going to talk about today, and they'll be like, oh girl, no. So this is why I've been absent for 2 months or something. There's been enough talk for now, so let's just dive into this video. Shall we? Okay, the book, actually really scared doing this. Okay, so the book I am going to talk about today is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, a very famous author, as I believe, and she has written a lot of books, I think. This was my first book ever that I've read from her, and I hate to say it, but it probably is gonna be my last. Let's just rush back in time to March 1st, where me and Gina actually started reading this book. I filmed at the beginning of this, so let's roll the clip, okay?
Hello and welcome to a new video. I decided to keep this channel going. What happened? I don't know. Well, anyway, this is my best friend Gina. I'm gonna link her Goodreads in the description because she doesn't have a YouTube channel. Sadly, we're gonna have to encourage her to do something like this.
We will see.
But her Goodreads is way better than mine and way more active than mine, so you should probably
Too cute.
Take a look at that. But the reason why we've met up today is because we started a book together.
It's way out of our comfort zones, actually.
The book?
Yes.
You mean? Oh, I thought the video.
No.
That's also way out of our comfort zone, to be honest. We started It Ends With Us by Colin Hoover, which is like, we heard so much about this book, and we feel like everyone on BookTube and on Bookstagram and whatever, and everyone's been loving this book recently. We have to say, this is not our kind of literature.
No, so you have to be a little bit careful of our opinion about
Yeah, so we are gonna have an opinion, but it's probably not gonna be the one that everyone is having.
No.
Because this is, like, we wanted something for fun, and we wanted to read something together, which isn't a book with, like, 1,000 pages yet. So we decided, because everyone's been loving this book, and we just want to understand why, I think.
Yeah, and we want to have fun.
Yeah.
Actually. Just like a nice little easy read.
Easy read! So, you may see that we already have our finger in the first chapter, because we already read that. And now we're gonna share our opinions about it, because I'm not sure what this is. This is like...
I don't know. It's like a lot more fast-paced than I thought it would be.
True.
I mean, I was prepared, but not that prepared.
I haven't heard nothing about the book before, so I was like, I'm gonna trust you with this one. Everyone's been loving this, and we were like, okay, we'll just go ahead. And then we're like on page 20. What's going on?
Yeah.
This is like page 20. I've never read a book with that fast pace, I guess.
No, neither.
We are like the kind of people when the first Shades of Grey books came out, or when the After trilogy came out. We were standing in...
4 books, actually.
Yeah, whatever. How many books it is. But we were the ones standing in the bookstores and just laughing about it, because we thought it was so ridiculous.
It's not our cup of tea.
We were always like there, standing there, grabbing the new books from this table, all about books like this. And then we just read the back of it, and we were like, oh my god, look at this. This sounds ridiculous. We should read it.
Tried the first After book, and I was like, 100 pages and I'm out.
And we are normally not the kind of people to...
DNF books, no.
Yeah, we try, but
yes.
really, you cannot try with these books.
So I'm really excited to read this one.
You'll have to say it's a fast read.
Yes. I think it's really easy to read it. And especially together, like, we can laugh about it.
It's so funny. Someone just randomly starts laughing and you're like, where are you?
But we have never really read, like, together.
Yeah, we've
next to each
never read in a room together. The last book we've read together was Song of Achilles, and it was really fun. And then we decided we just want to do this. So, and yeah,
here we are.
So, as you saw, our initial reaction wasn't the positivest, to say it at least, but we kept going. Partly, we started reading this book to read a book that is out of our comfort zone. We both are not really readers of this kind of books. This genre, this kind of story fascinated me because this book got recommended to me like 1,000 times over all the bookish related platforms you could think about, like Goodreads or BookTok or BookTube or Bookstagram. Wherever you looked, this book was always rated 4 to 5 stars. We sat there and we're like, okay, we want an easy read. We want something that is not as thick as the book we wanted to read next. Why not just start it? I mean, we were curious. We were just curious about what this book is. Why is it so hyped and what this hype is all about. We started it and it was a journey. Let's just say it was not a good one. I am so sorry. Every time I keep saying that I didn't like this book, I regret doing this video even more, but I feel like I need to get this off my chest, and maybe there are like 10 people out there who feel the same, and I hope I reach them. If you do not feel the same, please respect my decision about doing this video and about not liking the book, okay? I don't hate Colin Hoover. I don't hate her at all. She might be the sweetest human being ever. I don't know her. This book was not my cup of tea, which I could have known. I didn't. I just wanted to try it out, and now I'm here to tell you about why I didn't like it. For anyone who might not know what It Ends With Us is about, if you are not familiar with BookTube or BookTok or something bookish related, you might not know what this book is about. So let's just say it's about Lily. Lily she's like moved to Boston. She always had this dream about opening up a flower shop, in this book she's doing that. While living in Boston, she meets Ryle. Ryle is a neurosurgeon. They kind of fall in love, get into a relationship. It's basically about their relationship, about issues of their relationship. This is basically a summary of It Ends With Us. It's really just an overall summary. Oh yeah, and I should probably mention that there is another guy in Lily's life. His name is Atlas. She shares history with Atlas, and Atlas also gets back into her life. This gets kind of complicated, as you would have already guessed. Yeah, this is basically an overall overview of what It Ends With Us is about, and let's just dive in deeper and see what the issues are about. If any one of you is following my Goodreads, which you should do, so it's linked in the description, you might know that I didn't give any stars to this book, and I won't do that either in this video, because there's actually a few reasons of why I won't give stars to this book. First reason being, I don't have anything to compare it to. I've literally never read a book like this. This is the first time that I'm reading a book with this kind of plot, with this kind of story, these kind of characters. It just wouldn't feel fair to compare it to my own subjective views. Based on those subjective views, I would probably give this not a good star rating, but basically just because I subjectively didn't like it. Objectively, this might be a great book, but because I didn't like it and I don't have anything to compare it to, I won't give it any stars. So if you've been waiting for this, you can already skip or turn off this video or whatever. Enjoy my reasons of liking and disliking this book. Obviously, what I also should be mentioning is this is not a spoiler-free zone anymore. I'll have to dive deeper into the story to kind of explain what is going on and why I didn't like it. If you are aware of that, please continue to watch. If you hadn't read the book yet and want to read the book without any opinions that might change your view on the book, please stop this video right now. You can watch any other video, not many of mine, but you can watch any other video, but please stop this video right now. If you already read the book and just want to know why I didn't like it, go ahead and keep watching. Okay, so in university and in school, I always learn to say something good about something I'm going to criticize first. So let's start with the things I actually liked about the book, because there are a few. First of all, this book is short, guys. It's so short. So this is 367 pages, and then there is 4 more pages of notes from the author. This is a short book, and the style that it is written in actually makes it even shorter. So this was such a fast read. When we were like halfway through this book, I hadn't even realized we were already halfway through it. I was like, wait, are we on page 200 and something already? And Gina was like, yeah, we are. Why? And I was like, I didn't even realize that I read this much of this book already. So it is such a fast read, and if you really need a read that is fast and short, you just want to get through a story that you might enjoy, then this book, or I think actually every other Colin Hoover book, is the perfect choice to do so. I really like the shortness of the book, and especially the chapters. So the chapters were like maximum 10 pages long. I think there was one with like 16 pages, which is still nothing. That it was actually really pleasant to read that. So shortness, great. I loved it, really. I really didn't feel like I've read already like 200 pages of this book, and when we were finally finished, I hadn't even realized that this were like 260 pages, 360 pages. That was actually great. Another great thing, which is something I would really recommend to you reading, is the afterword. So the note from the author, because as sad as this may sound, I feel like the note from the author was, for me, in my opinion, actually better than the actual book. It got explained so good, and I felt like there was such a lot of background given to the characters, to the story. There were words written and sentences written, and I feel like this woman can write. And I never want to say that Colin Hoover isn't able to write, just maybe that her style of writing isn't what I like. Nothing that I would read continuously probably. But the afterword, wow. I think I read it 2 times. I fell in love with it. I liked it so much. I don't know how many people of you sometimes skip the afterword, or just like, okay, this story is done, like there's nothing left even though there is an afterword. If you are one of the people that usually skip the afterword, please, 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 for the love of God, don't do it here. This is so important. The last thing that I actually really liked was the description of, and again, huge spoiler alert here, of an abusive relationship. I, for myself, never have been in an abusive relationship, and I don't think I know someone who's been in an abusive relationship, at least not in a physical abusive relationship. It was kind of hard for me to grasp the idea of an abusive relationship. I mean, I know what it is, but sometimes it gets portrayed as something to, I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but I feel like sometimes it gets kind of romanticized, which is something that is so strange, first of all, and so wrong, second of all. I remember one scene, Skins, Generation 3, I think, there was a girl who had an abusive relationship, I think, and it got so romanticized, and it was kind of something to be sexy and to kind of be kinky. This is so wrong. I was so happy to see that the portrait of this kind of abusive relationship was not something to be romanticized or to be turned into a kink. It was just something real, and the thoughts behind it and everything Lily thought while Ryle was abusive towards her, everything she kind of went through, all the minds changes actually from this will never happen again to this is a problem and I need to get out of that, was something very balanced, I think, and something very real. This is actually a huge plus point for this book. This is sadly everything I liked about the book, but I think these are some huge plus points, and I really would say you should, I think I wouldn't say you should read it, but you could read it. It wasn't a bad read, but I just didn't like it in the end. So if these few plus points on my side are worth it to you, then you should totally get into it if you can look past all the things I'm going to say now. The negative aspects of this book are kind of outweighing the positive points for me, which is why I decided that I just didn't like it. This is, again, nothing against the author, nothing against the book itself. It's nothing against Colleen Hoover. She, as I said in the afterword, I realized that she is actually a really good writer, and I loved her afterward. I just didn't like the way she wrote the story itself. There's been some things that just really annoyed me throughout the whole story, which were what kind of ruined the book for me. I really tried liking this book. I always kept saying maybe it's getting better, maybe it gets better, we are like 10 pages in, it will get better. But then we were 50 pages in and it didn't get better, and we were 100 pages in and we were 200 pages in, and then we were 300 pages in, and then the book was over and it just hadn't got better. I really tried liking it, and I really tried to understand the hype that it went through and everything that kind of made the book popular, and I tried to get into people's mindset and be like, okay, why could they like this book? Why couldn't they like this book? But since it's highly rated on Goodreads, I think there is no way that people don't like this book. And so I tried to understand what it is that is so loved about the book, but I just couldn't get behind it. That's just my opinion. I actually checked Goodreads right now, this second, and the overall stars for this book is 4.42, which is so good. I mean, this is nearly 5 stars with like 1 million ratings, 1.5 million ratings, which is insane. A lot of people have rated this 5 or 4 stars. I really tried to understand the hype behind it. I really tried to get behind what is going on in this book, but I simply couldn't. Maybe I'm really not a person for this book. This is totally possible. I mean, this can be a great book, but just not for me. I would still try to explain what was going on in my mind while reading it that made me dislike it. So first of all, I had the feeling that the characters Colleen created didn't have any depth at all. Lily, she was plain boring. Really, I'm trying not to rant over here. She was just boring. 200 pages into the book and I knew nothing of her. I knew nothing of what she liked. I knew nothing about anything that kind of felt like getting me more attached to her. I had a feeling I have nothing in common with Lily, not because I didn't want to have anything in common with Lily, but rather because I didn't know what to have in common with Lily, because I didn't know anything about her. I felt like her character was just boring and plain, and I felt like she had no depth at all. I just felt like she wasn't a well-developed character, in my opinion. I couldn't relate to her at all. I couldn't understand her, but that felt like because I didn't know anything about her. That actually was kind of sad, because I think Lily would have been a very interesting character, but she wasn't. Same going for Ryle and Atlas, by the way, the other two main characters. I mean, Lily is the main character, but the other two characters that get a lot of time in this book, same for them. I don't know anything about them. I don't know. I feel like Lily isn't something that is an existing picture in my mind. That is actually something that I didn't like, and I think it's also kind of sad, because maybe that would have made the book likable for me. Next point I just couldn't handle in this book was the concept of time. I feel like some chapters were pretty rushed. They were going so fast. Time was like non-existent. So many things happening at once. Sometimes I had a feeling that I lost kind of overview of what is happening at the same time. Kind of losing overview of what time span this is happening in. Other chapters were so plain boring, and they took a lot of time. And it was not really balanced. Like, there was no good balance between rushed chapters with a fast timeline and just boring chapters with a very, very slow timeline. And another aspect of time was the timing itself. The time spans between big events was so random. Sometimes it was 52 days, then it was 3 months, then it was half a year, then it was 3 weeks, then only 1 week, and it was so random. I just felt like I lost grasp of it. Like, it could have been tomorrow, but it also could have been like 3 months ago. I wouldn't have known. This concept of timing was miserable for me. I always felt kind of left out by time, to say it like this. Another thing also kind of related to timing was time build-ups. You have explained a lot of big events in Lily's life. So opening up a flower shop, marrying, getting a baby. These are all pretty big events. I had the feeling there were so many chapters before that building up to that big event. So we're having planning of a flower shop over 2 or 3 chapters, and the actual opening, skip. We have plans for a wedding, we have traveling to a wedding, but the actual wedding, skip. So I had the feeling that there was build-ups to big events, and the big event itself, which would have been something so awesome to read, was skipped. And then we were kept going like, 52 days ago I opened my flower shop, and I'm like, okay, but I would have liked reading about how you open your flower shop, what happened, how many people were there, what was your concept, whatever. Totally not my cup of tea, but I felt like I would have liked reading more about the actual big event that is coming up than build up to the event that's coming. Next bullet point is unrealistic descriptions, at least in my opinion. And I think it mostly is descriptions that are trying to be romantic or sexy, which in my opinion are just unrealistic and annoying. Ryle was said to be wearing scrubs when you get to Lily. This is just not realistic. This is unhygienic, and nobody's doing this, at least not in Germany. You always change clothes. I don't know how this is in America, but I don't feel like you wouldn't want to change clothes after an 8, 9, 10 hour operation. I wouldn't want to go out in my scrubs afterwards. I would have liked to change into something clean, something that is not full of sweat and whatever. And you can't tell me that they don't have clothes at work. People who've seen Grey's Anatomy, people who have seen Scrubs know that the persons usually go to work in their normal clothes. Then they get undressed, they put on their scrubs, and when they're ready to leave work, they get undressed again, they get back into their normal clothes, and then they leave work. Maybe pants. I understand pants. These doctor pants, but not scrubs. I'm sorry, no. Another thing that kept happening was Ryle doing romantic stuff for Lily. Something like knocking on 52 or 24 or 25, I don't even know how many apartment doors it was, until he finally found her apartment. Ooh, finally. He couldn't have lived without knowing. No, this is not romantic at all. It's just annoying. This is the final point on my list, so you're nearly through this video, but the last point that was so annoying to me was unnecessary characters. There were so many unnecessary characters in this book. Imagine introducing a best friend of Lily to go to a party with and for him to never appear in the book again up until the last chapter. His name was never ever dropped again, never up until baby shower. And I think, okay, you seemed like a really nice character. I would have really liked having him. I don't even know his name because he was not there long enough for me to actually get to know him. And there were other characters which were introduced only for like one purpose and then they never appear again. At least make another chapter about the characters talking to each other. Like, I would have loved for Lily's best friend to be a character to support her in times when it got harder with Ryle or whatever. I mean, yes, she found another best friend in Ryle's sister, but what about her best friend that she had before her? He seemed very funny and I would have liked to get to know a little bit more about him, but I wasn't able to because he never appeared again. This is something I just don't like. I want characters to be part of the story. I want them to have a purpose. Same thing going for Atlas's best friends. They had one simple like storyline and they had one thing to do. They had to explain something to Lily and afterwards, gone. Never meet again. Never heard from again, even though actually Lily was really good with them. She even said in the end that she had the feeling that they might have gotten a little bit closer and that she could think that they might get friends someday. So why not just get them all back together, you know? I think this might be it for this video today. Thanks for everyone who's been watching up until this point through my little rant. Check out my last 2 videos if you want to, and I hope my next video is going to be a little bit sooner than this one. I hope you still enjoyed this video, even though if you might not be as interested in this topic. But yeah, I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you have a lovely summer if we don't see each other all summer, and see you next video. Bye!